Let's dive into this campaign, like where we are right now. Let me ask you a very, very basic thing. How do you think Harris is doing so far in this? I mean, it's obviously been a very quick campaign. It seems to me that not having gone through the primary process, she was denied in some ways the kind of training you get in being on the stump and getting out there. So she was drafted at the last minute without that much independent campaigning experience. She didn't really campaign last time around because she pulled out before the first primary. How do you think so far it's worked?
So I kind of disagree that she was denied this experience, because I think that has been actually a great boon for her. I mean, partly because she didn't have to endure the positioning that you endure in a Democratic primary, which then becomes a problem. I mean, we're already seeing the positioning that she took in the 2020 election, or I guess it was 2019 when she took a lot of these stances, coming back to haunt her. But that's different than that having happened just a few months ago.
Do you think she believed the things she said in 2019?
I think she was triangulating. I think, I think that she came off as less authentic in 2019, talking about, she would sort of agree with left-wing positions on, say, Medicare for all or, kind of criminal justice reform, but then she would add a bunch of caveats and she would, kind of moderate them. And so I don't know that her positions on, say, criminal justice reform in 2019 were that different substantively from when she wrote Smart on Crime, which is, a kind of fairly, conservative isn't the right word, but like an intensely pragmatic book. It's just that, the emphasis was so different. And I think it was such a matter of emphasis. And to some extent, that's what politicians do, right? They highlight the part of their record or their positions to meet the moment. But it was, particularly stark in her case, and I think didn't work, right? People in 2019 kind of had this sense of inauthenticity that I don't think they have now. I think that now she seems much more comfortable in her own skin and much more comfortable with her own positions.
Really, I'm just trying to figure out what her own positions are, because they're not exactly very apparent right now.
Well, what is something that you're confused about?
Well, let's go back to 2019 for a second. And she went at Biden, if you want to remember, that was one of the more memorable moments for being lax in the civil rights movement, basically, about busing, I think the thing was. She also said rather declaratively, there is no question I intend to ban fracking. No question. That's a strong statement. She also...
Right, well, we know... Okay, but that's just a statement. I mean, that's just a statement that's something that she's changed on, right? I mean,
she hasn't explained why.
I mean, do you care?
Why would she not? Well, yes, I do. I think if a politician changes her position, she has every right to do so. But the electorate has a right to say, so why? Why did you change it? What have you learned that helped you change your mind? That seems to me a completely legitimate question, right?
I guess. I think that the obvious answer is I've learned how much we need that part of Pennsylvania to win a presidential election. And I just feel like, on the one hand, there's this kind of demand that politicians pander to us, and I guess they should. I guess she should say something like, I had come from California. I didn't really know that much about the industry until I got into the White House, but I've since seen the importance of it. Mm-hmm. What she has said is I've since learned that we can meet X, so-and-so clean energy goals without banning fracking. But, she could have elaborated on that. But I don't know, do the people who... I guess you do. I guess you kind of, genuinely want to hear an explanation. I just feel like it's kind of normal in politics to take certain positions to satisfy certain parts of the coalition.
Yeah, I just think you have to have some ability to explain your shifts in position over the years. It just seems to me you have to have some rationale. And if you don't, it looks like you're dodging it. And I think that she has a vulnerability on that front. She also lent in very strongly to BLM and, as you know, it warned that the riots would continue unless we did something. She supported an organization that encouraged cash bail for people who had been jailed for rioting or trespassing or other things that they were. So
are you against bailing out people who were jailed for? Well, not for protesting.
Well, they weren't. I'm not. If they were arrested for protesting, it's one thing. If they were arrested for rioting, it's another, and looting is another. And she made no distinction between those things.